Let's get into it. Soul Not For Sale podcast. Coach Colin here. We have Joe Rogan and one of the worst guests he has ever had on his show, Mr. Adam Conover. And quick dad joke coming in. And the con is over. Listen, I got a kid now. The dad jokes are going to come out. I apologize. But if you don't remember this appearance on the JRE, it was very memorable because of this moment right here. Let's do it.
Consistently, said, I am a girl, and has never contradicted themselves, never
conversation about trans athletes,
changed their mind. And so the humane thing and the thing that he felt was good to do as a parent was to embrace that choice on his child's part, right? And yeah, that's
embrace that choice, meaning hormonally.
I shouldn't even phrase it as a choice, like embrace that identity.
But it is a choice, right? I mean, if you're choosing to add hormones to a child's body, that's a choice.
It's a choice blockers. It's a choice on the part of the parent. It's not a choice on the part of the child to in the same way that being gay isn't a choice. Yeah.
Okay, but if that's who they are, if they think that they're a girl, why do you have to give them hormones to make them more of a girl?
Because. I'm sorry, can you expand on the question?
It's a simple question. If you say that the child thinks it's a girl, so you're going to give the child hormones.
Mm-hmm.
If the child thinks it's a girl, let it be a girl. You don't have, why are you adding hormones? If you're shooting hormones into a child and you're affecting the child's development, you're saying that's not a choice. That's nonsense. Of course it's a choice. You're choosing to chemically change this child's body. You're choosing to inject things into this child's body on a regular basis that are going to radically affect the physical development of their body.
Yeah.
And you're saying that this isn't a choice. Well, it's definitely a choice to do that.
So what trans people express, and again, I'm not an expert. This is from me talking to my trans friends and seeing what other trans folks say, is that the experience of being trans and not receiving hormones, right, and not having the body that you identify with, the feeling of dysphoria, right, is extremely painful and is a condition unto itself, right, and the feeling of not belonging with the body that you have, of that mismatch, right, that seems to be in the broad variety of humanity, the way that some people are born, right, where their inner self, right, the self that they are, they're like, I am a, they're not thinking they are a woman. They're like, this is the person that I am. Doesn't match the body that they have, right? And that gives them extreme distress, right? And that leads to, suicide. That leads to, other damaging behaviors, right? And the best treatment for that we know exists is to, do gender confirmation via hormones. And
you know that doesn't affect the suicide rate. The suicide rate for trans people is very high, post-op and pre-op. It really doesn't get affected by whether or not you treat them.
Well, the operation, one
question could be,
is
why is that? Is that because they're not accepted by society and we're not more loving? Could it be underlying issues that are causing them to feel this way in the first place? What is it? We don't know, and I'm sure it varies widely.
Look, so all I can do is defer to the experts that I know about this, right? So, for instance,
he's literally the only guy that, as he's talking, a lot of people will say right, right. He's the only guy who should be saying wrong. Well, it's just wrong, and and when I do that, it's just wrong. He's the only person in the world that should be consistently saying it like that. That's what he should be doing.
There's an author named Bryn Tannehill, who's a former military helicopter pilot. I just interviewed her for my new podcast that's coming out soon called Factually. I'm doing it on Earwolf, and it's like a long-form interview podcast. And so she's one of the people who's affected by the Trump military ban on trans service people. You know, so that's why we brought her on.
Because she's trans.
Because she's trans, yeah. And she wrote a fantastic book called Everything You Need to Know About Trans. That like she is now a researcher, right? And she went into really deep detail about like here is all of the medical science, here's all the science about it. And so at this point in the conversation, I would say like, hey man, I just got to bone up on on that particular, because I don't want to speak to suicide rates.
My entire concern is with children. My concern is not with young adults deciding to take steps to confirm their gender identity, who they feel they really are. I'm all for you doing whatever you want to do when you're an adult, when your mind is formed. But people change their mind. They change their opinion. They change their thoughts. There's nothing wrong with just deciding to be a gay man. There's nothing wrong with your body, as you grow and mature and develop, you growing out of these ideas. Some will and some won't. And the ones who won't, they always have the option to do something later on in life. But if you do something to hormonally block a child very, very early on, there's no turning back from that.
Well, let me say a few things to that. First of all, it's not wrong to be concerned about children, and there's a reason this is the most intense part of this conversation, and I think it's correct, right? Because we're all very concerned about children, right? But I do want to say, first of all, I don't think it's correct.
Definitely not. He's not slightly concerned about children. Not even slightly concerned about children. Okay.
That trans people, if they don't receive hormones from a young age, they simply become gay men. Because I know
it happens very often.
I know trans people.
See if you can find that, because there was a big article that was written about that recently, where they were talking about whether or not gender confirmation surgery and hormone blockers on young children is ethical because of this fact. And this was what they were talking about, where people at one point in time wanted to be trans, and they listed several famous examples. And then as they became older, just decided to be gay, including women who wanted to be men who just became gay women. And I think, what's that girl's name that was in John Wick? Ruby Rose. She was one of those. She wanted to be trans when she was younger, and now she's just a gay woman.
So look, I know quite a few trans folks, right? And I have to be honest, none of the ones that I don't know any trans women personally who were gay men up until they transitioned, right? I know quite a few trans women who were straight men, right? Or who, lived their lives as presented as straight men, right? And then
this person, he just asked, did Jamie book this guy? It doesn't seem like Joe would. Oh man, Jamie's always catching strays. He's always catching the strays. But I think he might be right. I gotta be honest with you. No, I don't know who booked this guy, honestly. But I only show you this dribble that's coming out of this guy's mouth. I might even just jump over here just to see where the conversation went. I mean, this was 30 minutes of this guy saying, not an expert, but this is what I will say. No trans folks. 37 minutes and 10 seconds of this guy saying this stuff.
In the bathroom, right?
Right. They're
in
pretending
the same way,
to be trans people, and this is what people were worried about.
But
they have arrested people doing that.
But so they could also do that even if it was not a gender-inclusive bathroom, right? Because they would be breaking the rules of the bathroom in exactly the same way.
But everybody would know that they're a man in a dress versus them being trans. See, if you see a trans person, oftentimes trans people look very masculine. There's no need, if you're just going to pretend to be trans, there's no need to hide.
What we have to ask ourselves is if the hypothetical, or if the extremely, extremely rare situation that you're discussing, right, is so horrifying to us and such a big problem that it's worth disenfranchising millions of people from the ability to simply go to the bathroom when they need to. If that extreme edge case or hypothetical case, right, are we really going to hurt all of these actual people who actually exist and say, I just need to goddamn go to the bathroom, in a place that is safe for me, right? And I don't think it is. We can talk about that one edge case all day long.
But at the end of the day, there's been more than one case. But I think here's the question: what are there more of? Are there more trans people, or are there more sexual predators?
100% more trans people than sexual predators who are specifically going to put on a dress and in order to go into a bathroom specifically.
Yeah.
Wow. All of a sudden he became an expert. Oh, that's really cool. Because when I was over here, when I was playing the first, when I was at about 14 minutes into the clip here, he wasn't an expert. Now we're down to about 32 minutes into the clip, and he's an expert. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It doesn't take long. You understand?
Yeah, I would agree with
100%
that.
there's more trans people.
Yeah,
like
I would
by
agree
a
with that.
factor of 1,000,000.
Well, I don't know about a factor of a million. I mean, how many people are trans? What's the numbers on that?
You know, I don't know, but I would consult my friend Bryn's book to find out, because I'm sure it's in there, because she wrote a book that breaks down all these statistics called
This is such
Everything You Need to Know About Trans.
Minefield of a subject. You know, as soon as you start bringing this up, people go crazy. Because it's complicated, and people, they dig their heels in the ground on both sides. You know,
and you know, I try to have I'm happy we're able to have a conversation about it. I try to have a conversation that's based on, you know, what I try not to say more than I think I can say with surety, you know, but my basic principle is, man, I just want to defer to the humanity of the people that I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, the perfect place to switch over, because this guy was dribbling this nonsense on Joe Rogan's podcast, one of the worst guests ever, aside from that Egyptologist. And then he went on to Tim Pool's podcast. And oh gosh, is Tim Pool not the same as Joe Rogan? Oh gosh, is Tim Pool not as charitable and patient as Joe Rogan? Tim Pool is a little different. And this is what Tim Pool had to say when getting into it with Adam Conover. This gets wild.
So my point is, upholding the law is marginally good. Sometimes the law is bad, and that's why it's not always good. In this regard,
So wait, you're saying simply the fact that Marco Rubio exercised his legal authority to.
Hold on, let me go to the second clip first. Let me go to this clip first. Here, check this out.
bro, Donald Trump dumped food into a fish pond after Shinzo Abe did. Why are you trying to make that a negative
I don't even
story?
know what that
it was
you're
like
talking about there.
it's all of these hoaxes. The very fine people hoax.
I mean, I remember the line. Yeah,
Trump never called Nazis fine people,
He said there were very fine people on both sides,
except the neo-Nazis and white nationalists who should be condemned totally.
He said that.
Holy brother, it is.
I don't live in your bubble, man. I don't.
You don't live in the news, dude. Come the on. You don't read the news. This is what blows my mind.
No, I just don't have
Snopes.
I don't have your
No,
obsessions.
Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. Bro, it's been almost 10 years and you still think he did. That's
No,
what's
I
fucked up.
didn't say I think he did. I just don't know what you're talking about, because I don't
Joe
I don't
Biden.
listen to your.
It's not about listening to my.
Nah, we got to replay it. Did he say it? Did he say that he thought Trump said that? Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure he did.
The very fine people hoax.
I mean, I remember the line. Yeah,
Trump never called Nazis fine people,
He said there were very fine people on both sides,
except the neo-Nazis.
I remember the line, then says the line, then goes on to tell Tim, I didn't say, I don't know.
And white nationalists who should be condemned totally.
He said that.
Holy brother, it is.
I don't live in your bubble, man. I don't.
You don't live in the news, dude. Come the on. You don't read the news. This is what blows my mind.
No, I just don't have
Snopes.
I don't have your
No,
obsessions.
Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. Bro, it's been almost 10 years and you still think he did. That's
No,
what's
I
fucked
didn't
up.
say I think he did. I just don't know what you're talking about, because I don't
Joe
I don't
Biden.
listen to your.
It's not about listening to my bro. It's reading the news. It's fact checking. Bro, I got Snopes for you. They're not a conservative publication. Even
I just don't listen to your stuff, man. I don't know, man. I don't listen to your stuff. Bro. He's just talking about a fact. That's amazing. Hey, did you hear Trump got elected president? I don't know, bro. I'm not in your bubble, man. Like, what do you mean? I don't know. I'm not in that bubble. The bubble of reality. Adam's not in the bubble of reality. It must be nice. Must be very nice. Adam lives in VO3. Google VO3. That's where Adam is. Adam's ran by prompts. Okay, everybody? Just so you know. He's ran by prompts. NPC.
Snopes was like, guys,
I don't know
stop
why
saying
I
this.
don't know why you're shouting at me. I was just asking you to explain.
Because the issue we have, and I apologize, because I'm not trying to shout at you, I'm shouting in exasperation, that we've had two liberals on in the past 2 weeks who didn't know this. And I'm just like, for the love of all is holy, all I do all day is I read probably 500 news articles every single day from CNN, the New York Times, MSNBC, and all their aggregates. And then liberals come on and they believe.
No way he reads 500 articles. I give him 15 articles tops, maybe 25. There's no way it's 500.
Things that were debunked 8 years ago.
I didn't say I believed it. I was just asking what you were talking about.
You didn't know this.
Yeah, I don't know everything that you know.
But this is what Biden launched his campaign on. Biden made a public announcement to launch his presidency in 2020 off of this lie. And you didn't know that. 5 years later.
I don't know why you're getting on me about this, but
It's again, I apologize. I'm not trying to get on you. It's the exasperation largely with liberals.
Man, Tim doesn't have to lie. He's saying, oh, it's not you. It's not you. Buddy, look at this guy's face. Of course it's him. Like, what? Of course it's him. Look at that face. Of course it's him that's pissing Tim off. Are you kidding me? Of course it is. We got another clip here. It just kept on giving. I didn't even watch this full podcast. I couldn't do it. There's something about this guy's face, I'm telling you.
So my point is upholding the law is marginally good. Sometimes the law is bad, and that's why it's not always good. In this regard.
So wait, you're saying simply the fact that Marco Rubio exercised his legal authority to do something was good. It's like he had the legal authority to do it. He could have enforced this law as he saw it on anybody. He could have enforced it on a comedian, right? Who's in town and goes on stage and says, "Hey, you know what? I disagree with this or that." Or, "Hey, I just did shows in
Canada,
I just did what?
You're not from Canada.
No, but I just did shows in the UK and Amsterdam, and I made fun of UK politics, made fun of American politics.
You wouldn't dare make fun of Islam, though. Go to the UK and mock Islam. Do it.
Well, I don't have any jokes about Islam.
Why not? They got Pakistani games for little girls. Why won't you go to the UK?
What?
Why won't you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse you. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam? Yes or no?
Wait, I don't want to. No? I don't want to go to this particular rabbit hole.
Oh no! You're terrified. You're a hypocrite.
What?
Are there jokes you can make about Islam? Muhammad, right?
I'm really baffled.
Come on. You're terrified of the subject. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
In the UK, you can be jailed for making jokes about Islam or even bring up the gangs. There are people who go online and pointed out that a stabbing was carried out by a Muslim, and they got arrested for it. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of that stuff, because you will not go to a foreign country and, in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you. $10,000 cash in your pocket if you go to the UK and make a joke about Muhammad having a.
This we got here faster than I thought we would in this conversation. Where you're shouting at me about something I don't understand. I don't really understand how you would think it's incumbent upon me.
Do you think anybody watching this right now thinks you are confused by the notion that in the UK you go to jail for mocking Islam?
I don't understand how we got onto you shouting at me about Islam specifically. I'd like to return to
it's because you said people should be allowed to come to this country and speak out against it. And you said you're a comedian and you go to other countries, right? And you said you go to the UK. And I said, okay, if you go to the UK, speak out in violation of their laws and see what happens. And you said, I'm confused. I don't understand. What don't you understand? Will you go to Turkey?
Again, this face. Of course Tim's mad. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Of course he's upset.
Don't you understand? Will you go to Turkey? Will you go to Turkey and speak out against Islam?
Mi amiga.
I mean, if I have a joke to make, sure. I don't have a joke about those particular topics.
You would.
I would.
You're saying if you had a joke about.
Oh yeah, sure. I would try to do the best I can. I always try to poke the bear as much as I can. It's part of the job of a comedian.
Nothing to poke the bear about as it pertains to one of the world's largest religions. I mean, come on.
I mean, I haven't written a joke about that recently.
All right. Then I
So
look
look,
forward to you going to the UK.
hey man, I'm a free speech guy.
That's how it ended. Look, man, I'm a free speech guy. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. So this guy went from being on Joe Rogan's podcast to being on a podcast with Tim Pool, and Tim Pool absolutely laying into this guy. Just angry, just so angry, just head down. So that pose right there, that's what you say right before you yell. Right before you yell. You go like that and you yell something. Man, I love it. Absolutely love it. Good for him. Good for him for laying into that dude. Imagine Rogan laid into that dude the same way. He's poking the bear right now. Yeah, that's exactly it. I just don't understand why this guy does podcasts. If this was your first experience, if this is possible on a podcast, what happened with you and Joe Rogan, you think going on Tim Pool podcast, that the Timcast, that's gonna go better for you? Holy, I'm telling you, this guy just has no scruples.
The joke.
Look at him. He has no concept of what's going on. Does he think this is good promotion? The only thing, if I put on my tinfoil Speedo, maybe Tim paid him and said, listen, I'm going to ream you out on my podcast. It's going to get crazy views. I'm going to ream you out. This clip alone has 4 million views. You can only imagine what it has on YouTube. I'm going to ream you out on this podcast. You're just going to take it. You're just going to sit there with that face that you make. It's going to my audience is really going to like it. That's the only thing I can think of. Because why else? What sense would it make for you to be doing this? You know what I mean? Anyways, guys, I just wanted to show you guys that. And that's all I got to say about it. This guy needs to stop doing podcasts. That's what he needs to stop doing. No more podcasts, no more public appearances. Start writing books, get on Substack, stick to tweets, and that's it. Turn off your comments, for God's sakes, and that's it. Anyways, I'm out. Just had to say I'm out.